Alright, back into the comic book weekly, and I'm not sure when I'll be uploading this video. It may well be that the weekly is over by the time this goes live, but it's still a fun run, and I actually have another one recorded which may end up getting uploaded. I guess if you watch weeklies in retrospect, they can often just look like custom pack runs anyway, so I'm sure nobody really minds. But I was inspired to go back in and play some more of this by some comments in the Discord. Florian was going for a challenge to try and win with level 3 Flounder and level 3 Gelada on the same team. So normally what would happen if you had one of those units in your squad would be that you would end up transforming it in order to get the benefit of its ability. So in some senses it's probably more likely that you would get the achievement for the token pet instead of the original. And so trying to have both of the non-token versions in your team at the same time generally isn't particularly advantageous. But having played a bit more of the pack, I decided to come up with a team where I would try and use both of them in battle without actually transforming them permanently. And there are definitely some good options for doing that. Maybe not the strongest options in this particular weekly, but workable, and so that's what we're going to try and do in this particular run. So the first puzzle piece here is the bear, and when the bear faints it applies honey to its teammates as we end up getting a win by 1 HP, although I guess we did have the bee in reserve there. And then our griffin gets turned into a queen bee. So queen bee is like a turkey that buffs only bees, which I think is one of the more interesting pet designs in the update. But it also has some additional mechanics which are very funny, in that whenever it buffs a bee for the first time in battle, it will remove any opposing queen bees. It will actually remove any friendly queen bees as well. So you can only ever have one on the board if a bee is present. So if we play a unit at the front, make sure it has honey, then we can potentially remove queen bees from opposing teams that aren't doing the same thing. It's also just generally a decent summon option in this weekly, although I think most people in the late game would be adding a Spinosaurus to the mix. We are not going to have space in our team for that, because we've got the bear, we've got the queen bee, and then we need the 2 spaces for Flounder and Gelada. And we obviously cannot put any of those units in the frontmost slot because they will be transformed into something else on the following turn. So here we use the dolphin as a sacrifice to the comic book. It's going to get transformed into something next turn. But we managed to find a bunch of dromedaries, and dromedary is going to be one of the ways that we can quickly get some stats onto the Flounder and the Gelada before we bring them in. I think we're going to scrape a tie here. Yeah, that's fine. We don't really want to go super late into the game, but you know, we need at least a few rounds of buffs onto the Flounder and Gelada, because especially Flounder's starting stats are pretty bad. So with this mini drom stack, we're going to get +3/3 a turn. We end up getting Potu from the comic book, but we could actually end up getting another queen bee, so I'm happy to just let the tier 3 unit get transformed over and over again until we find what we want. We end up getting another 1 HP win there, which is really nice. We get Pug this time, so actually I think here I'm going to take the Cockatoo. I kind of feel like Cockatoo is one of those hidden units that I always forget about, but we managed to get 2 of them here, which is a good injection of stats for the bear. And here I fall foul of an old bug, which seems like it's back, or maybe it's something to do with my mouse. But there I right-clicked once on the Gelada and it unfroze. It froze and unfroze again. So we actually ended up losing out on the Gelada and the dromedary buffs that we would have had it remained in the shop. So I was pretty annoyed about that. You could see my cursor going backwards and forwards because I really wanted to freeze the unit there. Because the final build here isn't particularly strong, it's very punishing if you make those kinds of mistakes normally. So we get a sauropod here. I'm going to buy the honey. I actually made another mistake here because I should be buying the honey onto the bear, because the honey on the sauropod is just going to get replaced by the bear anyway. But once we've got some value out of the sauropod's ability, we can move it to the front and then just keep it there and let it cycle over and over, becoming different tier 6s. And here's one of the hard counters to our squad, and that is an ailment build. So there's Visitor, there's Squid and Toad, all of which can remove the honey, and therefore our team will just fall apart. And we end up getting Tabby Cat here, which I guess I could get a tiny bit of value if I managed to find a honey, which we do. So we can buy the honey onto the bear and then sell the Tabby. I think I could just bring in the Gelada here. Yeah, definitely should just bring in the weaker Gelada and then get the dromedary buffs for at least one more turn. Or maybe I'm just going to take the level up on the Queen Bee. Yeah, probably not the best ordering there, but I guess the level up on the Queen Bee is a significant boost to our in-battle summons. We end up losing one of the bees as a result of the snipes. A lot of dolphin teams this weekly, but in the end it doesn't make any difference. So now I think the dromedary probably has to go. The whole point of this challenge is to try and get level 3s on both of these units, so we can't greed for stats forever. And yeah, we take the flounder. 12-14 is a pretty good stat line. Now the complication with this is that in order to get the abilities to work in battle, we need to feed the Gelada once per turn. We can't feed it twice because then it will transform. We don't want it to transform. We want them to stay as they are all the way to the end to get the achievement. And yeah, we don't have to feed the flounder because level 2 Gelada will feed it twice. It gives pairs to every friend on the team and repeats it at level 2 and then repeats it twice at level 3. So we get another flounder. We don't have to upgrade the bear because we'd rather have the Queen Bee at the back with Ambrosia. And then we managed to get the level up on the flounder. So we're getting decent luck here, but we do need to remember we have to feed the Gelada every turn for the ability to actually go off. And I don't think I fed it this turn. Now it is actually possible for the opponent to feed your pets. Okay, I did feed it this turn. If the opponent has a fruit fly, or if they have a bear of their own, you can actually end up getting the activation from the opponent even if you didn't feed the pet in the shop. So here we get the another Gelada, and we give it a cucumber. It doesn't really matter what equipment it is as long as it's been fed once to keep the combo going. Freeze the chocolate and then definitely freeze tofu. And it would be incredible if the Spinosaurus at the front got turned into a sauropod, so then we could get some better value for our food purchases. Opposing Queen Bee gets removed because we had the honey at the front, so working out exactly as we drew it up. They actually had a bear here as well, although not so useful when their Queen Bee is gone. Actually, Tar in 4th position as well, which is a bit unfortunate. But now we're in the position to get the level 3 Gelada. I guess one downside of this is that Gelada in 3rd position means you're only buffing 2 units with the pairs, but there's not really any way to avoid that in this particular scenario because we can't play the bear at the front. So we do end up getting Sauropod as well, which is very lucky. So that gave us an opportunity to regen a chocolate using the tofu. And you can see that I'm actually being quite careful with my right clicks to try and prevent the unfreezing happening again. But we get another chocolate. Of course, the Sauropod is going to be gone next turn. The comic book will always turn it into a different pet. So we're not going to get a Sauropod a second time. But I think here we are going to have enough attack to knock out the boar in one go. Otherwise that could have been quite dangerous. And yeah, we summon another bee and it knocks out the monkey. So that puts us on 9. We need another flounder and there it is in the shop. So an incredible sequence of shops to get the level 3s on both units and still be in position for the 10 win. Now I am going to replace the cucumber with popcorn there. We have to feed the gelada and tofu, and we don't have enough money to use that. In fact, actually, I don't think I bought any other food. Now here's a team with a level 1 Spinosaurus. They do have a very, very large guinea fowl, but I think we are going to be able to summon a 10-10 bee now that we're getting the level 3 queen bee from the Flounder's ability. Spinosaurus is strong, but at level 1 it's just not giving these units enough stats to deal with our own summons. And so the queen bee gets a knockout. And we get both achievements at the same time. It did look like we would get the queen bee achievement there, but of course it was actually leveled up during the battle by the Flounder.